Greetings everyone, welcome to Commerce classes. Today we'll be understanding working of normal and abnormal losses of the stocks under periodic system. As we all know, under periodic system, we are to determine closing stock at the end of the period and then only all the calculations are carried out. So what exactly happens in case of periodic system for the losses is that we work for the losses also at the end of the period. So what we shall be doing is we'll calculate value of closing stock as usual. You see, in this method the closing stock is as per the stock taking system. So closing stock is determined from the stores itself. So we are to measure closing stock as per the method that we are following, FIFO, LIFO or WAVE. Then we'll calculate the cost of the remaining units. So cost of remaining units will be calculated. Now these are all the units which should be issued. However, out of these units, some of these units might be good, which we can sell off or issue, and some of these units are bad. So what happens is that the bad units or the normal loss is spread over the remaining units. So we take up the cost as it is and we calculate cost per unit based on good units. So if you are having say 100 units as an opening balance, okay, at a price of say 10 rupees, 1000 rupees. Throughout the year or maybe the accounting period, you acquired 2000 units at varying prices and total cost of 2000 units is say 25,000. Now at the end of the year, we find that out of these units, suppose 100 units have been lost, okay, due to pilferage, so it's a normal loss. So what we shall be doing is that out of these total units, 100 units are lost. So that lost units cost will be spread over the good units. But that spreading part will be done after determining closing stock. So out of 2100, we'll go to the stores and we'll measure the closing stock. Suppose our closing stock is 500 units. So as per FIFO, LIFO or weighted average method, cost of these units will be calculated and it will be separated out. Now we'll determine cost of remaining 1600 units. Suppose cost of these 500 units is say 6000 rupees as per the method that we are following. So cost of 1600 units will be 20,000. Remaining cost out of total cost, this is the cost of the goods left with us. So this is the remaining cost. Now out of these 1600 units, we are actually having 1500 as good units, right? So this cost will be spread over these units. So this way we'll be revising per unit cost, which will be 20,000 divided by 1500. Now out of these 1500 units, again some of the units may be lost due to abnormal reasons and remaining units will be sold off or issued by the stores. So the cost per unit that we'll be calculating here, like here in this case, it is coming out to be 13.33. So this cost will be used to measure abnormal loss as well as the cost of the stocks issued. So this is what we are saying. So we'll spread the cost of normal loss over the total quantity. Then good units that we are getting, they will either be sold or these will be disposed of due to the abnormal reasons. So the cost of goods sold and cost of abnormal loss is separately calculated. Just consider this here. So what we are having is, we are having here total units and total cost. Like in the previous case, we were having in all say 2000 units. This was the total units at a total cost of say 26,000. Now out of these units, we are first to separate out or measure closing stock. So your closing stock was say 500 units. Okay, so the cost of these units will be taken up. So the cost of 500 units which are there in the closing balance will be separated out. So suppose this cost is 6,000 rupees. So now we'll measure the cost of the remaining balance. So this is done step by step. Now the remaining units are 1500 units and the cost of these units is 20,000 units. Now these units are either bad units, that is these are lost due to normal reasons, or these are good units available, that is these can be sold or disposed of in any manner. So the bad units, that is the normal loss, will be spread. So what happens is that out of this total units available, the normal loss will be separated out. So suppose your normal loss is 100 units. So this will be separated out, and now this whole overall cost of 20,000 will be spread over remaining good units, that is 1400 units. Now these units are either sold off fully if you are having no abnormal loss. So if these are sold off, then this is your cost of abnormal loss. These are sold off, then this is your cost of goods sold. Okay, so this is your cost of goods sold if these are sold off. But if out of this some units are lost, then cost per unit will be calculated, and out of this the units which are lost due to abnormal reasons, their cost will be separated out, and the cost of the units issued will be calculated separately. So if out of say these 1400 units, if say 400 units are lost in theft, then what will be the cost of abnormal loss? 20,000 is the overall cost. So 20,000 is the cost of 1400 units. So calculate cost of 400 units. This will be abnormal loss, and for 1000 units if we are calculating, that will be units sold. The only thing is that while taking up the valuation of stocks, closing stock is calculated separately, and then only we work for the normal or abnormal losses in step-by-step manner. So we are to measure number 1, closing stock separately. Number 2, we will calculate cost of remaining units. Now remaining units will either be lost due to normal reasons, or these are there with us. So if these are lost, then the normal loss is separated from units. You deduct it from units, but you keep the cost same. So we revise cost per unit. Now this is cost per unit for the good units. So when you calculated cost per unit, so if you are selling all these units, we'll multiply these with the number of units sold to get cost of goods sold. If something is lost, some units are lost due to abnormal reason, then again abnormal loss will be calculated. Just consider this with one example. Now suppose this is our question. Now normally the questions are same for both periodic and perpetual system, because we are given one question in exams and we have to solve it using both the methods. So we'll be having a similar this type of question for both, wherein we can work for periodic and perpetual system both. Although if we are working purely for periodic system, then you see we do not take note of this issue. The stocks issued are not recorded. Rather, in this place, we'll simply be given purchases, opening balance, and then after the purchases, then we'll be given that at the end of the year or at the end of the period, the closing stock has been measured at say these many units. This is the abnormal loss, and these many units have been lost due to normal reasons. So we are given this information rather than the sale if it is a purely periodic system based question. But if it's a question involving both periodic and perpetual recordings, then this type of question is given. So let us solve this question using periodic system. So we'll simply take up the information which is essential for periodic system, that is purchases and the losses. So this is our question as such. Remaining things are not necessary under periodic system. So first of all, we'll measure closing stock. So closing stock is measured like this: opening stock plus purchases minus any kind of losses, because if losses are there, these stocks will not be traceable in the stores. What we are measuring is closing stock minus any units issued. So remaining stock will be traceable in the stores. So your closing stock will be 230 units. Then the measurement of closing stock, if we are following here, like we are given follow FIFO approach. So first in first out implies that initial units will be sold off and your closing stock will be from the latest lot. So 230 units can be fully covered from this lot. So your closing stock is 11,500. Now rather than calculating cost of goods sold here, because we know that out of these units, some are lost due to normal reasons, some are abnormally lost. So we'll simply calculate cost of remaining units. So number of one, calculate remaining units. So out of total 3800 units, this is the total units. If 230 units are left in the stores at the end of the period, it means remaining units are 3570. So value of remaining units can be calculated either as opening stock plus purchases minus stock in hand. We have opening stock 500 at 30. These are all your purchases minus stock at hand. Or you can follow the pattern, the method. That is, this stock is not there in the closing balance. This lot is also not there. This is also not there. And out of 300 units, 70 units are there in the closing 230 units are there in the closing balance. So 70 must be a part of the remaining stock. So this 300 units is split as 230 in the closing balance and 70 to be added in the preceding lots as the remaining units. So this is how we calculate cost of remaining units. Now these are the remaining units, find it here. These are the remaining units with you, but out of these units, we are given that some stock is lost due to normal reasons, and that is 100 units. So now this cost will be spread for the remaining good units, that is cost of 3470 units. So out of 3570 units, normal loss of goods is subtracted and cost is spread over these units. So your cost is going to be same for these many units. So in a way, per unit cost is going to be, you can revise this as 1,30,500 upon 3470 units. So this will give you cost per unit. Now this cost will be multiplied with, so this is your cost per unit. This is your cost per unit. When you multiply this with abnormal loss, you get the value of abnormal loss. And when you multiply this with the unit sold, it will give you cost of goods issued or cost of goods sold. Okay, now had it been a question of LIFO approach, then our calculation will be similar. The only difference will be that our closing stock in that case will be from the initial lots. So our closing stock will be 230 units as we have measured at a price of 30, and remaining 270 units of this lot will be comprised with these, and this will give you cost of remaining lots. This will be giving us cost of remaining stock. So per unit cost will be revised, and we know that out of the remaining lot, 100 units are lost due to normal reasons, so thereby revising or updating the per unit cost. And then the remaining cost, the cost per unit will be split into abnormal loss and the goods being sold. So herein you see closing stock is same 230. So closing stock as per LIFO system is based on last in first out. That means these units must be sold out first. So closing stock should be from the initial lots, right? This is what we have studied. So it should be based on 30 rupees per unit, which implies we can say that out of this 250 units, 230 are a part of closing stock and remaining 270 are the other stock, or it will be added in the remaining lots which are either sold or which are lost due to any reason. Okay, so if we are to determine remaining units are 3570 units, because in all you purchased 500,000, 2,000 and 300, that is 3,800 units have been purchased. Out of this, if 230 are traceable, that means remaining units are 3570. Now we are to see whether all of these are good units. If all of these are good units, then the cost per unit will be based on this. And if any normal loss is there, then the cost will be spread. So let us first calculate cost of the remaining units. Now cost of the remaining units will be 270 units at the price of 30, 1000 units at the price of 32, 2000 at the price of 40, and 300 units at the price of 50. That is the other units which are not traceable in the stores. So value of these remaining units will be either, as I have explained, we will be calculating it, or we can take opening stock plus purchases minus stock that we have determined. Right? So any of the two methods can be applied. When we are following LIFO approach, we should follow the pattern of LIFO method. So these units, 230 units are left, remaining are others. So now this is the value of, you can see how many units. This is the value of these 3570 units. Now we are to see whether all these units are good units. I mean, these can be sold, or maybe some of these are lost due to external reasons or not. If these are good units, then this is the cost associated with these units, and per unit cost can directly be determined. But we know that 100 units have been lost. So out of the remaining units, the units which have been lost, these must be adjusted first, that is normal loss must be adjusted first, and cost per unit should be updated. So this cost will now be associated with, the same cost will be associated with the good units. Now if all these units are sold off, then this is cost of goods sold. But out of these units, if any units are lost due to abnormal reasons, then cost per unit will be updated. So you will revise cost per unit. Now this is cost per unit. So if you multiply this with abnormal loss, that will give you cost of abnormal loss for 750 units. Multiply this with the remaining units sold. So just follow the pattern. See, the pattern is that first of all, out of the total quantity, again I am revising this for you, total quantity that we have is, just consider here 3800. Okay, so total quantity is 3800 units. Out of this total quantity, first of all separate closing stock, because periodic system says the stock which is traceable, it must be measured as per the method. So we separated this. Okay, this gave us closing stock. Now calculate cost of remaining. Now how many units are remaining? So out of 3800 units, 230 units are left with us. That means 3570 units are remaining units, for which we are to find out whether these have moved out of the stores on account of what type of reasons. So one is that some of these might be lost due to normal reasons. So first of all, normal loss is measured. So this is a step-by-step procedure. Normal loss is not valued. It means the 100 units which are lost due to normal reasons, their cost will be spread over the remaining. So your good units are 3470 units. So your cost of remaining units, 1,35,100. This is your cost. This was the cost of 3570 units, 1,35,100. So this cost will be spread over these good units. So that will give you updated or revised per unit cost. Now these units are normally sold off. So if the units are sold, this will be your cost of goods sold. But some of these units might have been lost due to abnormal reasons. So like in the present case, your 750 units are lost due to abnormal reasons, which implies 2720 units have been issued or sold, because your total units are 3470. So out of these units, 750 are lost due to abnormal reasons, remaining are sold. So just take up the per unit revised cost. So this is the cost of 3470 units. So determine cost of 1 unit from here, multiply this with 750 to get abnormal loss, multiply this with 2720 to get cost of goods issued or sold. So this procedure will be followed under each method. Whichever method you follow, these are the steps. First of all, calculate closing stock, then determine remaining units and their value. Now update normal loss. So as a third step, normal loss is to be adjusted and cost is to be revised. Revision of cost means cost is going to be same, number of units is reduced. Now calculate cost of good units, that is after normal loss, and then split it into cost of abnormal loss and cost of goods sold. Let us revise the same procedure with the wave method. Now under weighted average method, weighted average price is calculated and closing stock is measured on that basis. So weighted average cost per unit is calculated. Now our closing stock is still 230 units as we have calculated. So here also things are same. So 230 units. So value of closing stock is 230 units at 37.37 rupees. Right. Now remaining will be the units which you are either disposing of or selling or issuing in any manner. So remaining units are still the same 3570. But out of these units, now we are to recover the cost of lost units or normal loss. So what we shall be doing is we'll consider the normal loss. Okay. We'll calculate its cost because under weighted average method we have weighted average price, so this cost is calculated, but this will be revised for 3470 units. That is, now the cost of 3570 units is spread over 3470 because normal loss was there, so it is not separated from the cost, it is included or it is a part of this cost. Okay, so this cost is spread over 3470 units. So cost of goods, good units is 133405. In a way, cost per unit now is updated. So 133405 upon 3470. So you can calculate cost per unit. Multiply this with 750 units to calculate cost of abnormal loss, and multiply this with 2720 units which are issued. Okay, so this is how we consider the valuation or adjustment of normal and abnormal losses under periodic system. I hope this is clear to you. You can practice a few questions on this. So thank you for the time being. Stay learning and practicing. Stay smiling.